Hello there, I'm standing next to my 3/4 ton Chevrolet pickup. I'm almost finished putting the dump truck kit under it. It's at a point where I can raise and lower the bed without it dropping to the ground or coming loose or anything like that. This here is supposed to be mounted on the inside of the truck. I don't really like it. It's kind of big and bulky, and all it is a switch. It could have been a very small switch in the dashboard, but anyway, for time being, I'll use it. I may switch it out later. The gas cap still hasn't been installed. I'm going to have to fabricate a bracket, cut this off or remove it, and hard mount the filler tube to the frame on a piece of steel that I'll have to bend or cut and weld. I haven't decided what I'm going to do there. So when the bed is down, the nozzle or the hole will line up with the filler tube, which shouldn't be too hard to do. Looks like there's plenty of room to make that happen, but it's going to take some work to figure that out. Also, I had to install some temporary studs in the body that come down. It's some holes I drilled into the former mounts for the truck bed, but the holes couldn't be reused because the truck bed is now 1 inch further back to eliminate the chance of the bed hitting the body. So anyway, without further ado, I'll go ahead and raise this thing. It's going to make a little bit of noise coming off the hinges and whatnot, or the temporary hard points that I made. But anyway, here we go. And it's going on up. And now that it's up, I can set the remote down. Set it there on the gas tank. As you can see, we're under the truck now. This is the reservoir. Now, the company that made this recommended putting it on the frame behind the cab of the truck in front of the rear wheel on the passenger side, which wasn't going to work. It was just too tight and it hung down way too low. And I was afraid that somebody would either vandalize it or it would be hit by a rock or whatever. Anything on the road flying up might hit it. I'm going to try to make some kind of a mud flap for it from the back here, but what I did is I just set it on the cross member that holds the spare tire, which is plenty strong. And the reservoir, that's about as low as it gets, but that's with all the fluid in the hydraulics to lift it, obviously. Leaves maybe a couple of quarts in there. They said put 1 gallon, which is what I put in there. Anyway, it's not finished yet, but it's certainly at a milestone. I thought I would make a quick video. The hydraulics, when they go down, they are supposedly going to be cradled on a cable that goes across here, but in the pictures, what few pictures they supply, there isn't a gas tank in the way. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make some kind of a bracket that goes from this cross member to this one up here, and then down and across. And I'll probably put some kind of a large rubber hose or something spongy. It'll absorb the blow from this. This assembly weighs about 75 pounds. That was before the fluid went in it. And right now the only thing keeping it from falling down on the drive shaft is this piece of cheap rope. So obviously the truck isn't drivable yet. I wouldn't want to risk that. One of the big things right now is when the body comes down, it doesn't exactly line up perfectly. Now these are the holes I mentioned right here. This is the original hole here for the bed, but because I had to be moved back 1 inch, I re-drilled the hole and I cut the head off the bolt that was here, and I threaded in the hole in the body, which is up here. And when it comes down, it drops in, but not quite. So in other words, it needs some guides that will be mounted here or thereabouts that will come down and have them fluted out so where that will self-center on the frame. And I can build all that now that I can get under here a lot easier. It'll be a heck of a lot easier to do. The hinges are in the back there. I had to cut, I think it was at 2.5 inches of the frame to mount those. I'm going to take them back out and grease them. It's no big deal. Just a bolt. And I'm going to clean up this wiring a little bit. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to keep this thing from rotating. This here, all the force is applied to one side, and it is a lot of force, especially getting it started. It's, you know, probably thousands of pounds of force. This will rotate no matter how hard I tighten it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a brace that goes from this flat surface here back at whatever angle it takes to make it to back here, and that will keep this thing from rotating. It's basically going to be a torsion bar. As long as I clear the differential, it should be fine. You'd have to be way down on the overloads and then some, right on the axle, for that to get close. So, and I'll be going across over here. I won't be over the center of it, I'll be over here. So it should go right through here. These are just ventilation lines for the differential and a brake line. They're flexible, so it should go right through there to here, and I'll make sure it's exactly square to the frame, and I'll bolt it, and I might even put a spring on it or something to absorb the blow when it vibrates or whatever. So anyway, that's it. The truck is getting close to being operable. I'm going to lower it back down. As you can see, you can stop it anywhere you want. All it is a solenoid that opens up a valve to let gravity push the hydraulics back down. Quite simple. Anyway, that's my dump truck kit so far.